All right, guys, check it out. CPI data is out, and the markets across the board, for the most part, are selling off, other than the NASDAQ, which is up a little bit. But other than that, we have the Russell down 0.4, the S&P's down 0.1, the Dow's down about 0.25%. And get this, guys, the VIX is down over 6%. So talk about volatility, even though the VIX is down 6%. I mean, look, SPY, when the CPI data came out, shot to 417, dumped all the way down to 409 as the markets closed, and now we're at $412. We're trying to bounce back. We're trying to fight through the moving average here, but it doesn't look like it wants to break out quite yet here on the intraday chart. So we're down pretty much all across the board. The metals are down as well, and we're going to break down some charts in a second. But first, let's actually take a look at the report. If you guys find value, of course, hit the like button, subscribe, get your free stocks for Moomoo, up to 15 stocks, each up to $2,000, and up to 12 stocks from Webull down below. Get your free money, guys. I appreciate you all, as always. And now let's take a look at what in the world is going on. So the consumer price index for all urban consumers rose 0.5% in January on a seasonally adjusted basis after increasing 0.1% in December, as you guys can see right here. And over the last 12 months, the all items index increased 6.4% before seasonal adjustment. And if we come down a little bit here, the index for all items less food and energy rose 0.4% in January. And we can see here all the different categories, which we'll break down in a second, guys. Don't get too excited quite yet. Let's take a look at the bar chart first, which you guys can see. This is the 1 month percent change in CPI for all urban consumers, seasonally adjusted from January 2022 to good old January 2023. You guys can see, how inflation overall has come down, which is good from last year, but we did get a pretty sizable spike here to now match what we saw in October. You guys can see back in October, we had a 0.5% month. In September, we had 0.4%. Then we had a little bit of a decline in November, 0.2%, into December, 0.1%, and now we're getting that spike up, which I believe was kind of expected. I mean, it's not like this is out of the norm or anything crazy, even though the markets are selling off a little bit, but the fact that that 6.4% or the 12-month, the annualized number 6.4%, not too bad considering what we were at was what, 10%, over 10% at one point. So we did get a little spike in January, not the end of the world. It doesn't mean that inflation, is here. It's coming back and here to stay forever again. For all we know, we could dump next month. But the big but here is, if we get a huge spike in inflation in February as well, maybe we go to 0.7% or something like that. I'm just playing hypotheticals here, right, guys? That would be probably unexpected. But at this point, it's not like we're seeing a crazy spike. And the markets, again, like we saw, they're down a little bit, but it's not a complete shock where we're down like 2-3% like we've seen, after other CPI reports in the past. And we can see here, this is the actual the chart, the 12-month percent change in CPI for all urban consumers, not seasonally adjusted. You guys can see it's been trending down. That is a good sign. And if we come down a little bit more, this is what we want to look at right here, guys. This is the different categories. These are, rather, the different categories here. We have all items, food, energy services, apparel, used cars, new vehicles. Let's break this down very quickly. Then we'll go back to ThinkOrSwim. So make sure you guys stick on throughout to break down some charts, stocks, see what's going on. So again, all items were 6.4%. That's the 12-month number. You guys can see it here all the way to the right. Then food ended up coming in at 0.5% on the month, which is actually up from 0.4% in December. So food in general creeped up a little bit. Food at home, though, went down a bit from 0.5 to 0.4%. That's good. Overall, though, that's still about 11.3% annualized. And food away from home is where we actually got an increase in inflation. We had 0.4% in December, but in January, it was 0.6. We also had an increase and mind you guys, look, food away from home is 8.2% annualized. We also had an increase overall in energy from negative 3.1% in December. And mind you guys, energy had multiple negative months. We had negative 4.7 in January, negative 3.9 in August, negative 1.7 in September. We had a positive month in October, 1.7% for energy in general. But other than that, it was declining up until January. We had a bunch of declining months, excluding October, up until now in January, where we just had another positive month of inflation. So 2% energy for January. That's 8.7% annualized. And if we look here at energy commodities, that came in at 1.9% in January, 7.2% in the red in December. So that was a pretty big spike month over month. Gasoline also spiked from -7 in December to 2.4% in January. Fuel oil was -16% in December, guys. You remember that. I mean, you guys know that. And in January, it was -1.2%. Fuel oil is 27.7% annualized. Then we have energy services, pretty much unchanged. Electricity actually came down a little bit, but utility gas service popped from 3.5 in December to 6.7 in January. Then let's come down here and look at new vehicles. New vehicles came down a little bit, good, 0.6 in January, 0.2 in December. That's 5.8% annualized. And used cars and trucks, you guys know that number went ballistic, during COVID, and after that, even the year after that, used cars and trucks were going crazy. That was -2 in December, -1.9 in January, and that's been consistently printing negative numbers every month. Now it's -11.6%. I mean, a lot of people, we saw things that never happened before, which, used car prices, you can literally, I could have sold my used car for a profit, if I wanted to. It's insane. People were buying used cars. They bought used cars, let's say, before Corona, and they went up in value after Corona to the point where they could have made a profit on them. I bought my Corolla for like 14 grand or whatever the heck it was, paid it off, and it was worth more than that at one point. I was like, should I sell this or should I just keep it? You know what I mean? I kept it. But, it's nice having a paid off car, guys. Very nice. Even though it was pretty cheap. Either way. But yeah, new vehicles, used cars, trucks, that's coming down. Medical services, looks like medical care to commodities up a little bit. Shelter, unchanged pretty much. Transportation services, medical care services came down. That's good. So overall, guys, it looks like, we did spike month over month from December to January, but it's not like we're seeing any crazy spikes in the individual categories that it's like shocking, right? I'm not personally seeing anything like that. Of course, I'd love to know what you guys think in the comments down below. Make sure to drop me a comment. And of course, if you haven't done so already, hit that like button. Let's take a look now at how the stock market is reacting and how some individual stocks are reacting after this, inflation report. It looks like we're going green, guys. It looks like we're going green. SPY's now up a little bit. Russell was down 0.8% when I was about to start filming. Now the Russell is up, or not up. It's still down, but it's now down 0.2%. So it's up a good chunk here in the first 30 minutes of action. We can see this thing is up 0.6% from the intraday bottom on the Russell. That's good. The NASDAQ's now actually green by a decent chunk. The NASDAQ is up. Let's pull this up. Triple Q. It is up 0.4% right now. It looks like it is starting to get to that pre-market resistance being about 305, 306. If that were to break, we might be making a move to that 308 level, which is where we hit once the CPI data pretty much came out. So this looks good. Honestly, this looks good for the bulls. A lot of momentums here. It's shifting back to the bulls' favor based on the intraday chart here pretty quickly. It looks like that sell-off lasted 10, 20 minutes. That's it. And now we're starting to bulls are starting to gain that control again. You guys see SPY as well now pushing 413. We're about to get to that pre-market high. This is a very good sign overall, because you guys know on the 4-hour chart, let's pull this up and then we'll end the video in a second, guys. We have a clear wedge on SPY, on Triple Q, and well, we're breaking out of the wedge, guys. You guys can see that, right? Slowly breaking out. My alert's at 415 on SPY. If that breaks, we'll probably get a full breakout. And if Triple Q ends up taking out, let's say, the wedge here, which is right around 306, 307, that would be a full breakout for Triple Q. So markets are looking pretty solid. Where's Palantir at? Wait a second. Tell me Palantir is red right now. Do not tell me that. Wait a second. 12. What, it's not on my watch list. That's why I'm saying. Why is Palantir not on my watch list? I thought that was on my watch list. My bad, guys. Sometimes this thing disappears. Or some stocks disappear out of the watch list. But yeah, I was expecting it to be at the top because it was super green. Yeah, it's still green, up about 13%. And I'm probably going to make a video after this on Palantir. I'm not a big Palantir bull, and I don't know the most about Palantir. I'm not that guy. But why not? I figured let me make a video going over the actual earnings report. We'll break down the chart a little bit more, so be in tune for that in a couple hours from now, from when you're watching this video. And look, Tesla's back over 100 or 200 rather. Starting to make a move again over that level. Nvidia just keeps on trucking along, guys. Look at Nvidia. My goodness, this thing does not want to slow down ahead of earnings that are early next week. I believe so, yeah, early next week. Yeah, on the 22nd, we have NVIDIA's earnings. So that's it for the video, guys. I wanted to break that down very quickly, the CPI report, how the markets are reacting. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, subscribe. Do not forget to get up to 15 stocks from Moomoo and up to 12 stocks from Webull. It is free money, guys. Who doesn't like free money? As always, link down below. All those links help out the channel. Feel free to check out the Patreon as well, guys. If you want to check out the Patreon portfolio I'm building, if you want to be a part of the Discord, you want to get my charts throughout the day, you want more access to me throughout the day, all of that's on Patreon down below. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.